racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big dive with water. Might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, they put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
And after months of preparation, determination, and work, it's finally here. Welcome everyone to the inaugural edition of the VSPEED Invitational here on VSPEED, presented in part by VRX, by Walkin' and Rolling, by 29 Graphics, and by Kaiho by Prolivio, as we get set to debut the start of this year's event. Welcome to coverage of Group A here from VSPEED, and to start off from the virtual Auto Club Speedway here on iRacing. I'm Justin Prince, alongside the booth tonight, Bradley Cooper, as we begin a brand new event, a tournament style format, 4 races in 2 days, 2 groups underway tonight, Bradley, and tonight we look to see who joins the single group tomorrow.
Yeah, we're sitting somewhere between 22 to 23 drivers here in this session. It's actually approaching 24, and that's all going to be down to the top 18 after Lime Rock. So 2 races here. We'll take Group A and Group B, split them down to 18, and take your top 36 for the final prize here in this championship tournament style. It's first ever time we've done anything like this. I'm super excited. I'm especially grateful to all the people that sponsored this and put it on and helped us out here, and we've got a ton of leagues represented here tonight.
That includes, over the past 2 years, VSPEED's covered a lot of different series. That includes Saturday Night Racing League that has members taking part, the VRX World Cup, VSRL, the Overtake iRacing League, ORRL competition, Goat Locker, below the Double Yellow, QSR simulations, I should say, and Racing Revolution, amongst the many different series that have some representation tonight. And drivers were buzzing to join this event as recently as a couple hours ago to be able to prove that they can be amongst the best, and try and come away with the prize payouts as part of this event. There's a lot to discuss for tonight, but the first track on the docket, Bradley, going to be Auto Club. It's going to be that bigger style racetrack, 50 laps the distance, 3 tire sets available, 80% fuel. So at the very least, it's going to be at minimum one stop. It's just going to be how drivers play the pit strategy.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those one-stop races with 80% fuel. It's just, do you want to take it as far as you can go on fuel? Do you want to split the run in half? And that's really going to be up to the driver themselves. Do you use your stuff up if you're starting in the back? Maybe short pit these guys and you have faster, better tires for the end of the run. I really don't know. It's going to be interesting. And we were talking about the average split here for the I rating in this session. It's going to be over 3,200 for Group A. It's somewhere around 2,600 for Group B. So a couple of guys over 6,000 I rating in this split.
And a lot of drivers to keep an eye on, a part of the racing today that will have a lot of speed in this combination. Stephen Aguilar comes to mind from over the years. He's raced with a lot of big teams. You take a look at some of the rough estimates on some of the drivers in the field for the group. Some of those involve Chris Simard. Aaron Smith II, a very familiar name. You'll see a lot of him tonight. Casey Ellis amongst those that is notable for the field tonight. A lot of strong competitors are in this group. Yusuf Ghali comes to mind as well because he's been with a lot of big organizations, not just in the league scene, but in the official series scene over the years. And tonight,
For sure.
we'll see who's going to be for surely to the top. Of note, Smith II led final practice.
And right there's a quick look at Group B as well. You've got a few guys there that are over 4,500, a couple guys that are over 5,000 late joiners, and we had to move a lot of guys around, so it was some last-minute entries, some guys that decided, yeah, you know what, I think I'm going to be a part of that tonight, and we had to cut off at 5 p.m., but we ended up still doing some work all the way to 7 p.m. It's great to see the turnout, and we were aiming for 60. We got over 45 guys in here. It's pretty cool for the first time doing anything like this, so. You can also catch coverage of the Group B. It is live simultaneously right now on VSPEED. You can just head on over to the Group B on the YouTube, and simultaneously Adam Baker and Alec Martinez are covering that group.
And that should be a fun one to keep an eye on, the ski comparison, like what the races are at and how they will function for tonight. But qualifying is underway. 5 minutes, 2 qualifying laps for drivers. 5 drivers yet to set times, including Ben Richards, Yusuf Ghali, Richard Olson, Jordan Brockel. Also not yet to set a time is Phil Lobos Jr. So keep an eye on some of the drivers. They continue to try and improve on times. Aaron Smith II, yet again, top of the board over Seth Hatchell at the moment.
Yeah, and AJ Stravado coming around here as you're looking at the board on the left-hand side. Hatchell just 0.06 of a second off there, and Chad Klinger even tight with 0.06 of a second. So the top 3 very close together. Looks like Stravado just kind of out here running some practice laps right around here with Julio Villalobos Jr. in the 45. This is the 29 Graphics owner out there on the racetrack right now and putting down his first lap. Few of these guys, though, starting deeper in this field, and we talked about it. It's going to be a matter of, do you want to save your stuff, maybe starting in the back. Guys like Yusuf Ghali, notorious for starting in the back of the field and working their way up to the front in the final 10 laps. Oh, very loose for the 45,
Yeah. Oh!
I think.
Into the wall, in fact. That's going to destroy his run in the 29 Graphics machine. It looks like 14th will be around where he starts, as the rest of the qualifiers who did not set times elect not to hit the racetrack for the session. So into triple zeros goes the clock. Aaron Smith II, top of the pylon. And a lot to break down for your starting grid tonight. We'll go about 10 at a time. We break things down into the next couple moments or so. It's time for the first of 2 races. Auto Club Lime Rock, a part of tonight to see who goes to tomorrow. Let's start off the speedway portion. Aaron Smith II, Seth Hatchell on the front row, separated by about half a second in qualifying, half a tenth in fact. Chad Klinger will start on the next page of drivers alongside Chuck Sweetie. Then AJ Stravado starts off with his 5th position for tonight. Stephen Aguilar will also be on the next page there. We mentioned expecting him to do well. This is a combination he's loved over the years for a long time, built a reputation for doing so. Then 7th spot, Chris Justice will start in 7th. Cale Bleakley will start in 8th. Rounding your top 10 starting spots tonight, Reggie Ortega and Eric Hutton will round out the top 10 tonight, Bradley.
A lot of talented people up there in that top 10, and just behind it there, Dennis Faircloth from BTDY, Chris Simard from BTDY and SNR. Those guys side by side in row number 6. Row number 7 goes to Yusuf Ghali. Julio Villalobos able to get 14th, even with that spin there out of turn 2. Quentin Stewart's going to start in 15th. QSR CEO Morgan Cook representing VSPEED there. Morgan Cook, our other producer, are going to be in 16th tonight. 17th, Casey Ellis from VRX World Cup Series. Jeremy Bailey, also from VRX. He'll be in 18th position. 19th goes to Greg Pillar. And Philip Brewer rounds out your top 20.
21st starting spot, William Britton, who's raced a lot across the iRacing platform. He'll start alongside Thad Miller, your last to set a time tonight. Then towards the tail, Bridger Olson. He was one of your fastest in final practice. He'll start alongside Benjamin Richards. And Jordan Bracco was the last scheduled starter, but the 84 did not make it looks like, for your starting grid. So that leaves us 24 ready to get rolling from the starting blocks. So on that note, we've already seen the race analysis for tonight, Bradley. What are your keys to a strong night to move on to tomorrow?
I think the key to this race, because it's so many different leagues that people aren't used to racing with, you saw we just had a little connection error there, but I think the key is to just feel this race out for the first 25 laps and see how everyone races and responds to each other. Take your time and then go for it there at the end, because there's no reason to push this early. Plenty of racing to do. You got pit stops, you got tires and strategy and things like that. So yeah, just being there at the end, I think, is the key to make that top 18.
Now, in regards to the drivers tonight, we touched upon multiple different leagues being involved with tonight. Who are you looking at the most for a combination like this to start off tonight? Who do you think will mesh the best with this?
I'm looking at guys like AJ Stravado, maybe a sneak up here from Chuck Sweeting. I haven't really seen him as a road course racer, but I do know he does well here at Auto Clubs, so we'll have to wait and see. But I think Stravado is going to be the most balanced guy. And then don't count out old Quentin Stewart there at the road course.
It's going to be an interesting night, to say the very least. We're happy to have you with us here on VSPEED. It's the VSPEED Invitational. Group A about to get started for first round elimination night. Green flag is out. We're underway for the VSPEED Invitational. On board with Aaron Smith there, as Seth Hatchell going right to work, straight to the lead to start.
Snagged away the position from the outside, going there into 1 and 2, and down the backstretch, never looked back. He's pulled away about 0.2 of a second rather over the 70 of Aaron Smith. And we look on the back side of this car, he's got clean air. And you know, we've talked about tracks like Kansas, like Auto Club here on VSPEED several times, but how important is it in this B car, because it's so difficult to pass here at Auto Club, and if you're stuck behind somebody for 10 laps, you're going to wear the right front tire out.
And this is a racetrack too. On top of things, you can get multi-groove racing. You can change things up, run the top a little bit, maybe run the middle, try and find the clean air and search around. But as you said, with this combination, it also is going to be difficult. That's why we're already seeing the top 3 prefer to run the bottom. Most of the drivers running top side are in the mid-pack and didn't get a good qualifying run.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that are just a little bit deeper in this field. Going back here to drivers like Caleb Weekly, Julio, and Morgan Cook. Some of the guys that will probably find their way up here into the top 10 here shortly. But, you know, Caleb Weekly started all the way back, or actually has fallen back to the 13th spot, started in 8th. And then you have the opposite side of that with, you know, Bridger Olson, who has probably the highest I rating in this session, starting in 23rd. So I think a little competition between him and maybe use Savkali to see who can get up front first.
Rizona Racing back machine currently working to the bottom. I think Olsen, based on what I've seen and heard about him a lot, especially too, might be there by the end if he's able to keep it clean here. He seems to be slicing to the pack well, even though it's hard to pass unless you're usually top by corner exit.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult. I think the high line will come in here after the halfway mark. Almost some contact there between Weekly. Actually, there was contact between him and Morgan Cook back here. Morgan Cook falls back. He's going to lose about 4 spots from that contact, and Weekly holds it down. A lot going on back here from 15th on back.
Good save there, but the battle is on for second. Right now, Smith the second being pressurized by Chad Kleiner. He has 3 wide with Sweeting trying to wrap the top side, offset 3 wide. Good awareness from the 70, but Aaron Smith is going the wrong way. Stravato now under attack from him.
Yeah, it looks like Aaron Smith maybe a little bit of tire saving, but maybe too conservative. We'll have to wait and see. He's lost about 3 or 4 spots, and he's under fire from AJ Stravato now. At this point, I would start to wonder, is Aaron Smith just saving tires, or is he running the wrong line? Are these guys overwhelming him? Because you come out here and qualify, it's a different ballgame when you're at race pace.
Right now, so far, for in the high cruise Sweeting. You know who's really preferring the high cruise? That car you just went off to. That's Dennis Faircloth, who's been really trying to build up those runs, top shelf, since the start of the race. He's got into 10th. He's only gained the 1 spot so far, but he's getting huge runs down the front straightaway and backstretch from it.
Yeah, I've seen Dennis race like that in a lot of places where he takes a line that nobody else is using and he can make it work. You just got to wonder, is there a reason nobody else is up there? And with the big run that you're getting off the corner, that probably means you're using the right front a little bit more than everyone else. So how long does it last? Maybe to gain a couple spots and then work your way to the bottom of the racetrack. However, he is getting clean air. He could probably afford to save his tires a little bit more because of that. It's just going to be an interesting balance because, let me tell you, in practice, this car very loose off the exits in these corners. They talked about how tight it was in, how loose it was off, and yeah, this track very hot, very greasy. 143-degree track temp here today.
Yeah, that is a very toasty temperature, to say the very least, for these tires. They're going to fall off a fair bit as a result of those temperatures. Up in front of Faircloth, see Galley, we want to touch upon this quickly because some people bring out their league schemes tonight, and then you have Yusuf, who brought his cat onto the car.
Yeah, he's always got something new, something fresh to bring here on VSPEED. And I'm surprised though he wasn't in like a Dale Yoda. I've seen him drive that before, and so it's he's always got something interesting to talk about. Let's see if we can get a good zoom in there on that car. Phenomenal job by all these guys. 8 laps in, we're doing a great job. I think these guys are doing exactly as we have contact back here. That looked like Bridger Olsen off the racetrack in the 67.
Great save to avoid the inside wall, but that's going to cost him the pack. No caution. We stay green. Olsen sent for a ride, and sometimes all you can say is, this is why you qualify. Contact in the mid-pack sends Olsen down the track.
He's on the inside of Billy Labos Jr., just worked up the racetrack. There was really no room for him to go. Almost hits the inside wall. That's a close one. Oh, Justin, I think he should buy a lottery ticket. He was within a foot of that wall. That would have been a race ending if he hit that.
He's going to need a caution to get a good points haul now as a result of that one. Remember, bottom 10. Don't want to be in that bottom 10, so to speak, of the group arrangements as we touched upon earlier on, so to speak. But right now we're about 10 laps down, this time by Hatchell. Still wrapping the bottom, Sweeting running the middle. There's a look at the Hornet's Nest. That includes the number 8 of Aguilar battling with Billy Labos at the moment.
Yeah, and it looks like Morgan Cook has worked back up to Caleb Weekly where they had contact there just a second ago, so back up to 16th, and there's Faircloth still on that really high line. You got to start worrying about that at this point. 10 laps in, that's about where the tires start to let you know if you're doing the right thing or not. And if the 80th air cloth does tag the wall, he's got a Hornet's nest right behind him. If they're 3 wide like they are right here going into turn 1, there's nowhere to go for these guys to check up.
Bill Brewer takes advantage. He's in the 0-0. Able to get the wrap around in the red machine. Top line being utilized once again by Morgan Cook. He's already taken some slides on those tires. That hurts the rubber a bit. But right now, just trying to run in the heart of the field, keep it clean.
You got a big run out of 2 there. Got around the, looks like the 10 of Caleb Wakely, now working on the 8 of Steven Aguilar. And looks like Villalaba is really loose out of turn 4. Morgan Cook's going to go up high. A little blocking here from the 45. He's going to go middle 3 wide.
And again, 3 wide. Up the middle goes Cook.
Contact.
Oh, they tore. Able to hold on to it. Cook able to save it in the middle of the racetrack. And
Still 3 wide.
Yeah, but it's critical to defend the high side for good reason. You lose the top, you likely lose the spot down the straight.
Yeah, it looks like the car he just passed a moment ago gets back on the outside. Caleb Wakely back up to the 14th spot there briefly. Now going to touch on the bottom of the racetrack. Bottom groove very slick. You have to be careful down there. They're offset 3 wide again. Here comes the 10 to the outside, 3 wide down the front stretch. And meanwhile, while this is all going on, we got racing up here from around 5th to 10th position. You've got Eric Hutton, Reggie Ortega. This is actually from 3rd to 7th. Yusuf Ghali in this mix as well.
You know who's up to 2nd too is Travato on top of it. He's got it through this in quick order. Sweeting starting to really fall off. There is Travato. Right now the Project Valorous machine is on the charge. Last time by, he was a 1/10 of a second quicker than the leader.
And it looks like we had some trouble in the B split there. We'll bring that up on your screen real quickly. Maybe. Well, we had that feed there for a moment. We'll try to get that fixed for you. But yeah, some problems there. They are under caution. So some issues early. But looks like we have stayed green for 14 laps here. And see if we can get that feed up there, yes, officially. And it's a little hard to read there, I'm sure, but looks like the running order right now, if I can get a good look at the car, I'll have to check in there and see who's leading that event right now, but it looks like pit stops for those guys.
Not a shock with the tire degradation so far. The fall off fuel limit or not, that's already seen fall off of 1.6 seconds across the field. That's not a shocker when we know this is a cheese grater style racetrack. It grinds the tires.
Yes, it does. And for every lap that goes by, this is another lap that Seth Hatchell has to consider. Did I push myself too early? AJ Stravato has caught up to him. He is all over the back bumper. Look to the inside, down the back stretch. Going to be side by side for the lead going into 3.
Stravato tries to wrap the white line. Trying to get the run is Hatchell. Good defense by Hatchell, but here comes Kleiner on top of it. He tries to get to the outside. Not now, but Stravato is the faster car in single file formation.
Looks like Stravato is just trying to plan and find a weak spot. Hatchell knew that, so he went to the high line to play that defense, and that's another side effect here. It gets to be more of a driver's track as this race progresses. When it first starts out, it's more similar to like a Talladega Daytona where you can draft each other and hang with them, but now you're seeing the top 3 start to split away. Reggie Ortega looking for the 4th spot on Chuck Sweeting.
Sweeting stayed committed to that line all race long. That doesn't seem to be lasting too much longer because now...
Contact with Hutton.
Oh, yes, a bit of a stack up. Hutton losing ground. Golly now brings the Petney machine on through to be able to gain some spots.
And that's your pole sitter right in front of him, Aaron Smith, who's fallen back to 5th spot right here. He didn't lead a single lap from the pole. He will get a bonus here, though, for getting that pole, and it will help him a little bit in points. But overall, I mean, you got to go up there and lead some laps, finish the job, and at least get one lead when you start on the pole. He's falling back. Looks like he's going to be under fire from Yusuf Ghali here shortly as well.
And knowing Yusuf, he's going to have a shot to be up with those leaders by the end of this race too. Because at the moment, looking at some of the lap times on the cycle, 43.5 to the leaders. Ghali in the 44.7s. Last time his average is in the ballpark of your top three choo-choo train.
Again, Hatchell is playing defense. He's taking away that line from Stravado. And you remember when he caught up to him, Stravado was running a little bit higher, but every time he goes up there to try to get that run, it looks like Hatchell moves up in front of him, takes that line away. And then you have Chad Klinger, who's really, he's just kind of playing both lanes. Whoever's a little bit faster, he'll pull draft from them down the backstretch. But I'm not for certain that Seth Hatchell isn't just saving a little bit of his stuff here, knowing that he has clean air and there's no reason for him to really push his tires if he can just work the outside and keep them at bay.
See them just playing the line. Stravado now playing to the inside. He wants the lead in this race. He works around to the first seed. But once again, Hatchell stays to the outside. Can Hatchell get a run? Stravado looks like he's quicker now. Not too much of a run from Hatchell.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed there with what Stravado just did. He ran the middle bottom all the way through that corner. Looked like the 8 got a little bit loose, or the 08 rather, got a little loose there on that high line back to the throttle, and that was just enough to let AJ Stravado get a nose here. It looks like maybe a lap lead as they come across the line. We're talking about a couple hundredths. It will be Hatchell holding on for another one.
2 1,000ths, in fact, was the difference at the stripe. Stravado not going to go for the slide job. Hatchell going deeper on corner entry, though, to defend. Chad Klinger, interestingly enough, he wants to work more with Stravado than he does with Hatchell.
This is interesting because I think right now Klinger's just kind of saving his stuff. He's going to pick whoever gets around, but the door keeps opening back and forth, and here's a slide job from Stravado. Looks like Hatchell probably not going to give him the room. He will not. Closes the door. Now 3 wide for the lead.
3 wide down the front straightaway. Coming down to 30 laps to go. Hatchell stays outside. Stravado middle. Klinger stays to the bottom. Last time by, Stravado got the lead lap for the first time today. Now he looks to hold on to the point. Hatchell trying to wrap the top side from the wall. Top shelf keeps it offset 3. Stravado can't slam the door.
He's loose. He is really loose. He chased that car 3 lanes across the racetrack and almost got contact from Klinger as well on the bottom. He had nowhere to save that car and somehow still made it work. They're still going at it, and there's your pole sitter, Aaron Smith, back into the hunt. Now that these guys got racing, maybe he was saving his stuff. Maybe he was the genius here.
Last time by, he picked up near half a second to get up to this pack. And now he's trying to set himself up with the outside of Hatchell, getting the run to clear yet again. Keep in mind, Ghali's also in the conversation. Up to 5 cars about to battle it out, and we're just about at the pit window on top of it. Still battling to the bottom is Smith.
I think right now, Smith is he's probably estimated, hey, I'm faster on the long run. Maybe come down pit road here. Get the edge on these guys. Get out a couple seconds ahead of them. I see no reason for you to stay out here. Maybe lap 23 is the secret, but I haven't seen anyone hinting that they're going to hit pit road just yet. A couple cars actually having problems here. Quentin Stewart, 5 laps down. He is out of the event in the number 24 machine. Not sure what happened with him, but he is behind the wall here. Maybe connection issues for the 24.
Only thing we can say in that regard is, said lap 15 smiley face. That would be around the time where he disappeared from offset 3 wide. It was Billy Labos that appears as the cause. We stayed green. You know who's so slowly closing in? Some of the others, like Aaron Cutton. You also have others needing to plan out their points positioning soon. Yeah. Because they're about to have to peel down, and better yet, you have to be aware these drivers might not have the same road course. Something's wrong with Aaron Smith.
Yes, there is. I don't know if he got loose or if he was deciding to commit to pit road and missed it. Let's go back on the instant replay here.
Yeah, he has lost something. Is he out of gas? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't think he'd be out of fuel. He might have. Something's wrong with that car, but it sounded like it was still up to power.
Did something happen to his throttle, you'd think? Because he's up to speed again. Yeah, something must have happened to his pedal set. In a bad position.
Yeah, we're just coming up on pit stops, and he just lost like 20 spots.
That's unbelievable. And now Stravato going back to the believable sends. No, Hatchell.
Oh, here comes Klinger, too. He's going to send it down on the bottom. Stravato had to lift out of it because he ran out of racetrack, and Hatchell did a great job of pinching him down there on the exit to prevent him from sliding up in front of him. But now puts Klinger side by side, and that's what Seth Hatchell wants right now. He wants those two to keep battling so he can get kind of that gap that he had at the start of this race of a couple tenths of a second. When we approach pit stop time, he's going to want a little bit of cushion behind him so guys don't get into him when he's coming down pit road. As we set up here for lap 25 completed, this is the window now for pit stops.
Who's going to be the first one to blink? Remember, the fall off right now already skyrocketing near 3 seconds. And normally we see it only plateau at about 2.5, 2 seconds. Not tonight with this toasty racetrack. And not tonight with these toasty battles that we've seen up front. So this pit entry is going to be a tricky one at speed, mind you, Bradley. It's easy to wheel hop and spin it.
Very easy to do so, and you kind of trail brake later in the run, but you gotta get those brakes warmed up. You gotta get a feel for, the brake here is very little. I mean, because the car doesn't really need to use it, so you want to be really careful you don't lock up any of these tires. And the transition to the apron also very difficult, makes it a lot easier to snap free. You'll see probably a lot of people be really cautious. They'll probably start their pit road entry there at the exit of turn 3 and be on the bottom of the racetrack before they even decide to hit those brakes. It's going to be a very challenging pit road. As you can see how close together the top 3 is. Every one of these guys is going to try to outdo each other on and off.
Side by side again for the race lead. This could also be an opportunity to take away a move from Hatchell. Stravato stays working with Klinger, though, for the time being. Hatchell continues to prove why the outside line can be so prevalent down the front straightaway. Every single advance from Stravato, he's been able to counter with just hit the gas.
Well, a lot of these guys race side by side, battling for the lead. Chad Klinger's all over the back bumper. He's going to peak 3 wide down the backstretch. And now you have Yusuf Ghali, who's also right there in the hunt. He's within a half a second of these drivers and looking to maybe capitalize on that. We're actually seeing the accordion effect as you see a little bit more 3 wide briefly into 3.
Once again, side by side, Chad's had enough. He wants to go. Can he find a way around? Of note, pit road is open for Villalobos. He's come in to start off the cycle. He was already half a track back, and he's had issues on the box. Still able to get on the jacks, though, despite the slide. So now, the fight is on to see who's going to be able to come out on top of the cycle. And Hatchell's trying to run away again. More stops underway.
Greg Pillar down pit road. Casey Ellis also into his pit cycle, and Casey Ellis was hanging right around that cutoff mark on the 18th spot. He's coming in here from about the 20th spot. You got a couple other guys here. Wayne Britton back here in the 21st position. They're going to have a recovery moment at Lime Rock if they want any shot here to make the top 18 cars. But, Quentin Stewart still has a shot. He could go out at Lime Rock and pull off a win, definitely earn his way in. If you win, you're guaranteed in. That's the other thing as well that, we talked about some of the stuff in the pre-race, but, you get a bonus, but you're also guaranteed a spot in that final 18 drivers if you can get a victory. And Seth Hatchell, well aware of that. He's led the vast majority of laps. Contact with the wall here, 2nd and 3rd spot.
Just about a tight window. Pit call. Chuck Sweeting has called in this time by. No calls from your top 3 yet. There's a look at Sweeting, who lost a ton of ground to end off this run. He's now coming down. Bit of contact up the road, by the way, with Reggie Ortega. They ended up bouncing off the wall as a slide for Sweeting. He avoids speeding. Brewer gains some time. There's the 2.
So the contact was with Chris Justice in the 52, I believe, for the 6th spot. That's kind of the product of, running the outside. Looked like Chris Justice used the outside, but all of it, and that's probably where the contact starts, is where that guy's on your outside and you're trying to wash up the track to get a good exit. We've seen that a little bit with Morgan Cook and the 10 of Caleb Weekly earlier in this race. That happened a couple different times where contact with the 51, as you see Morgan Cook down and away. Stephen Aguiar, 00 Philip Brewer, several cars down pit road again.
Pit party time also in this lane. Chad Kleiner, he led the way. Good gain on entry, though, from Eric Huddins. He's gotten pretty close here.
In a ton of time. I mean, he was reeling him in, but he was about a second out from this group. But down pit road, he's within like 0.2 of a second. So great entry there. Hopefully not a speeding penalty for the 88. Seth Hatchell, AJ Stravado, Yusuf Ghali still out on the racetrack.
First black flag of the race. Thad Miller just picked up speeding. Exit in the 13 car. Everyone else with a clean
on the
window.
wall.
Oh.
That was close. I mean, it's minor. It's minor. I don't think he got too much damage from that, but Seth Hatchell, your leader, as you saw AJ Stravado shoot it down pit road just now. Right behind him, Chris Samard. And so that leaves Yusuf Ghali, Seth Hatchell left to pit. Hatchell made a slight little mistake there on the exit of 4.
Bit of a scary moment for a split second, but Yusuf Ghali now up to second. Ghali trying to close up, but it's pit stop time for Seth Hatchell, 54. Ghali also following him up. Both of them coming to the pit lane this time. Yusuf is pushing hard on his entry, though. He backs it up early on the brakes, however, compared to Hatchell, who's up the lane.
Well, it's really at Hatchell's discretion here what he wants to do. He moves over to let Ghali to the inside. Well done execution on pit road. Can you believe it? We put 5, 6, 7 different leagues together here to race tonight. We're caution free at the halfway point, 33 laps in. Passed it.
And Yusuf just about missed his pit stall. Hatchell going into his stall. We'll see where they cycle. Britton currently be your net leader because he is on a massive undercut of 5 laps compared to everybody else. That picked him up a fair amount of time. Kleiner is right now the net lead from those in the main pack. They'll easily zip by those, stretch you for a longer run. Side-by-side pit exit. That's not normal.
No, it's not. 54 said, I'm tired of waiting. Get it up to speed, Seth. He tried to pass down pit road. It's been a while since I've seen that. I think it was Ben Bafford and Adam Cabot the last time I saw anything like that at Nashville, if you can believe that.
That wasn't going to work, though, with the grass. But
no.
Now, you know how things have cycled? Everybody's pit. Britton on old tires going to have a hard time. Kleiner, with all the battles going on, is in a good spot. He's up in second. Hutton gained so much time, he got to third. Battles on for the lead.
So William Britton's going to get a lap led. He started in 21st, and that short on the pit will probably cycle him somewhere around mid-pack. So not a terrible decision. He was outside of the top 18 this whole race for the most part. So it's not going to be a terrible choice for him. However, good luck holding on because 5 laps at this place is an eternity, as you see right here to the inside. He's going to get a freight train from all these cars that were in the top 5 earlier in this race. One after another after another. And you got to wonder, for the 08 and the 54 Ghali, are they going to be able to catch back up to this group in time? Because we only have 16, 15 laps to go.
We've seen the fall off already, go up 3 seconds nearly. There is plenty of time for the fresh tires to push. Now note though, some of the others that picked up a lot of time in this group, Phil Brewer, he's in top 5 position because of his pit cycle. Also of note, Golly's move, he's lost a fair bit of ground to Hatchell. There's a look at some of those in the pack right now. Britton's tires are shot.
Yeah, he's just sliding around. He's trying to hold on to it here out of the exit of turn 4. Reggie Ortega to the outside. He slid all the way up the racetrack, almost into the front of Reggie Ortega. And that's probably, if we're going to see a yellow here tonight, that's probably where it's going to be, is now you have guys on different tires. And it's hard to judge, especially when you have a gap that big, as you see right there, Britton down on the bottom. The closing speed of the 08 and the 54 right here, it's just such a difference because the 64 isn't able to get back on the throttle as early.
So those on the freshest tires zip right on by, standing on still. But the battle's on in several spots. Aguilar and Cook are battling, that's for 11th. The lead is also closed up as well, because here comes Travato. He's got it to the outside of Cleaner, and he's sending it more deeper.
Yeah, he's going to get I think he might prevail this time. He was working the inside on Hatchell earlier, but the outside line is what Hatchell used to defend. As you see him get really close to the exit wall, but that was where the 08 was a little bit stronger than Stravato, was because he had that preferred line as they almost make contact down the backstretch for the lead. Klinger doesn't want to give it up, but it looks like Stravato has taken away the point here for the last 12 laps of this race.
And right now, his 6th lap old tires look to set the tone. There's still about 12 laps to work with, give or take, on the board. And oh, by the way, Hatchell's already within a second and a half of this group. So he is flying, and Hatchell is setting some of the fastest times of the racetrack.
He's on the move. We're talking about 3/4 tenths of a second. That would put him just short. He's a second and a half back. So he'll be just short of the lead with about 2 or 3 to go if he can keep that pace. But he's got a lot of work to do. There's 3 or 4 cars in front of him here that aren't going to let him by easily, and that can hold him up before the race is over.
Great equalizer on tires, absolutely of note as well. Golly has zipped on by into the 7th spot past Ortega. And he's just trying to follow Hatchell line for line almost. Position for position with how things are broken down. Next battle up the road, Hatchell taking 5th from Brewer.
Philip Brewer's going to lose 1 spot. I want to get a quick check-in back here on the cutoff mark. Here's Greg Pillar currently in the 17th spot. And then our last driver in this group, Casey Ellis, 18th. Dennis Faircloth even further behind that, over 9 seconds. So it looks like unless we get a caution, these guys pretty set in stone for our top 18 for this particular heat. But then we're going to go to Lime Rock, and maybe some of these guys can recover those points. It's going to be a tight window here.
An extremely tight window for a lot of them. Of note, Aaron Smith in 16th. Bit of shoving here with Brewer. Last time by, he bounced off the wall. Nearly collected the 54. Instead, he's side by side trying to hold on to his tires. Borsti can finish his 9th with how things are going because Simard has some speed on the bottom too.
Yeah, Chris Simard is going to probably end up going by him here on the inside, but, you know, Brewer, the likelihood of him falling back to William Britton with those, 7-lap difference on tires, I don't think it's going to be the case. But here's Morgan Cook, Steven Aguilar starting to battle for 11th spot. Coming up on that 5 to go mark. These two drivers have a shot at the top 10 here.
Aguilar seems to be preferring the high groove, at least for now, in this battle. It's in strong range to be able to get up to the 64 in the next 3 laps. Under 10 to go, as mentioned. You can see just the difference again. Aguilar, a lot more stick corner in, apex off, a lot more grip to be able to exit compared to some of those even in his pack.
Yeah, he pulled away from Morgan Cook there out of the exit of turn 4. Looks like a 3-4-way battle back here, 13th position. You've got Bridger Olson. How about him coming back from that spin? He was back in 23rd position at one point in this race. He's now running 13th. So that shows the speed of this car. had he not had that spin and got sent through the grass, how far up the field would he be? Would he be up there with Seth Hatchell, Eric Hutton, Chad Klinger? I feel like he would be. He had the pace.
Great recovery. Mind you, he had to recover for about, give or take, 15 seconds back. Get to that mark. Here's Weekly. His right front's gone. He's in the wall.
Yes, it is. A lot of problems there for the 10, but still, I mean, 16th, he's in the cutoff line. He's good to go. As you see a pass for third, Seth Hatchell, who's led the most laps here today, working his way back towards the lead. He's on the hunt here with 5 to go when we cross the stripe. Actually, 6 to go when we cross the line. Man, if I'm Klinger and Stravato, I'm checking my mirror a lot here.
Especially knowing how fast Hatchell's getting. He's now trying to run the high side for a setup. They have traffic ahead. Bill Levels is just up the road to these leaders. That's going to take away the line for a moment. Hatchell, regardless, he's trying to set it up for second.
To the inside of the 45, 21st position for him. Tough day here today. Oh, he's going to let him by when he gets up into the wall. He will let him all clear here. Julio lifts off the throttle here to let him go. Unfortunately, Hutton catches him at kind of the worst time there on the exit of the corner. Villalobos going to stay, hold his line. There goes the 54 of Golly. 5 to go at the stripe. There goes Seth Hatchell to the inside of Chad Klinger. This could be a battle for the lead with 2 or 3 to go.
Golly, who's on the same cycle, is also equalized out. Hatchell hasn't had that same equalization feel. High five from Barney. 5 laps to go for the first race of the night in Group A. Right now, Hatchell, he's reeling them in by 2-3 car lengths per corner.
He's even backing up his entry. He's getting a better drive off, but looks like maybe Stravato was holding back a little bit. Oh man, the safer barrier, he just brushed it. Used all of the racetrack there on the exit, and he'll pull away just a little bit here with 5 laps left. Is he setting up a pass? Is Hatchell maybe saving? Doesn't want to give away? Was Stravato saving this whole run, knowing that the 08 would be a problem here with 5 laps left?
Knew it was going to be a tough order to be able to fully close this gap, though, especially when you sacrifice the lead even with the freshies. With 4 to go, Hatchell is trying to find some air, try and search for it.
He's way up high this time around. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Looks like he does get a decent run down the backstretch. He's going to shave off about 2/10 here down the back straight.
Trying
That might be the answer.
Yeah, but the question is, will it be the answer the rest of the way? He needs to close up a lot more. He's still half a second back.
I mean, the top 3 or 4 cars are starting to accordion back together as well. They're all slowly kind of working back towards Stravato. I don't think that Hutton and Klinger will have enough time, but there is a battle back there still for the 3rd spot just behind this. And, Klinger, who led some laps there, had the short on the pit just by a couple laps. He's under fire from Yusuf Ghali, so does Ghali get up here into the top 3? I don't know. It looks like Ghali's tires have equalized a lot faster than Seth Hatchell's, but now with Stravato, I'm not sure if Hatchell is maybe just waiting for that 2 to go mark to really push the issue, or if he is equalized as well.
Well, might have to push the issue now. 2 to go. The gap's still 3/10. Hatchell needs to find a way to gain a lot more than 3/10 in the next lap and a half. He goes in hard. All of that's well. The battle keeps up in this grouping. This is from Hutton's view with the battle for 3rd.
Yeah, Eric Hutton's been playing really good defense. Yusuf Ghali pinned down there on the inside. He's trading draft back and forth. He wants, oh wow, Klinger almost followed him down there. Loose contact, 09 off the wall.
Hard contact indeed for Klinger. Ghali able to avoid damage, it looks like, for the most part, as we come up to the white flag. The battle is on for the win. It's down to under 2/10 for the lead. White flag is out. Final time around from Auto Club. Who gets it done in California?
Watch it really carefully here. Stravato's moved up the racetrack. He's taken away Hatchell's line. But Hatchell's still able to get a good run there through the middle of the corner. Does he run out of racetrack? He does not, but I think it was enough to keep him at bay. We might have to see a dive here to the inside from the 08.
Will there be a slide job to determine the winner? Stravato covers it off. Hatchell goes high side. Stravato takes away the air. Hatchell puts his foot in it. Slides up the track. He's in the wall. It's Stravato who uses the clean air to his advantage and takes the win to start the night in the VSPEED Invitational. AJ Stravato picks up the win by half a second in the end over Seth Hatchell. It's deja vu drift time for the Project Valorous machine.
What a finish. It all came down. Without that wall contact, it was going to be, a tenth of a second. I think Hatchell just, got his line taken away, and it was good heads-up driving by Stravato. He used what Hatchell had used against him all the way through the first half of this race against him. The roles were reversed, and, that's why we like Auto Club. Yeah, it's multi-groove, but you can very easily multi-groove your bumper, make it 2-3 lanes wide with that dirty air.
And Stravato, in the end, knew the speed was there. We've seen him battle it hard before pit stops. He'll burn it on down to start off the night here on VSPEED.
Well, post-race interviews here. We're going to pull a few of these guys up. We've got a little bit of time here between sessions. We've also got some Group B racing going on simultaneously, so we'll try to get that feed up there as well. But you're watching Group A here for the first ever VSPEED Invitational, and AJ Stravato is victorious. Lime Rock's going to be coming up after this. We're going to get your final results and some post-race coverage here before we head over to our second stage of the night for the final 36 drivers to be decided at Lime Rock Park. Stay tuned here on VSPEED. We'll be back right after this.
Racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big dive of water. Might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, they bumped in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Welcome back to VSPEED in coverage of the VSPEED Invitational here from Auto Club to start off the rotation tonight, presented in part by VRX, by Walkin' and Rollin', by 29 Graphics, and by Keo. Just about ready to look through your results here tonight after what was an intense race to start off the evening. Stravato beats Hatchell. Hatchell went in the wall, in fact, trying to battle it out on the final lap. Hudden rounds out the top three. We'll be speaking with those drivers pretty soon. Isagawa finished off in fourth. Chad Cleaner bounced off of him coming into the white flag. Still managed to top five. Submerged able to get up to the sixth position. Sweeting, Ortega, Brewer, and Aaron Smith rounds out your top 10, Bradley.
What a race it was. Like we said, it says 5/10 of a second there, half a second on the interval, but it really did come down to a couple tenths there out of turn 4, and had Hatchell not hit the wall, it probably would have been down to under a tenth when they came across the line. Final results here from 11th back to 18th here. That's the cutoff line for the top 18. You got Steven Aguilar getting 11th. Chris Justice is going to finish out in 12th. Morgan Cook, VSPEED, representing there in 13th tonight. Bridger Olson recovers back to a 14th place. Caleb Weekly, 15th here tonight. William Britton falls all the way out of the top 5. Remember, with 15 to go, he was up there in 4th or 5th position. He actually had the lead there for a bit and falls back to 16th. Greg Pillar, 17th tonight. And Casey Ellis making that top 18 cut going into Lime Rock. Outside of the cutoff, we've got Dennis Faircloth, Jeremy Bailey. Then it's down to your next grouping here with Villalobos in 21st. Thad Miller had some problems speeding on pit road. He'll finish 22nd. 23rd, Quentin Stewart. Some connection issues or some issues there with the 45. Got sent to the inside. Then a couple cars here. You had Jordan Brockel, and Benjamin Richards in the session. Not really in the session here. Was undecided on joining. So, we had 25 cars. Probably see 23 of them there. Hopefully we can get Quentin Stewart back in and he can get his recovery race, going into this final stint here.
That's how we correspond with the running order here tonight for our first of 2 races on the docket. No cautions, 5 lead changes. Green the checkered. It was an exciting one. So, we do have our top 3 standing on by. First things first, AJ Stravato holds on to start off the night to pick up the win in Group A to begin the evening. AJ, what was your thoughts of the battle as it came down to you and a hard-charging Hatchell in the end?
Yeah, that was a pretty fun race, I gotta say. Me and Seth raced each other really hard. Same with Chad when we were up there battling for the top 3. But track position is so key here. So I knew if I pit a lap early and kind of executed my pit road entrance and exit, I could maintain the gap and save tires once I kind of got clean air. And we were able to do that. But Seth was coming, I'll tell you that right now. He made me work at the end right there. He had one lap is such a huge tire advantage as the run gets on here. So I just made sure to protect the high line whenever he was starting to go up there. Made sure to save my stuff up, and we were able to bring it home.
Overall, though, you also had the speed to be able to run alongside of the bottom multiple times. What was the feel of the car like for you to be able to have that speed to keep side by side for so many laps?
Yeah, it was it made it tough as hell to pass, I'll tell you that. It's one of these things kind of where you save your tires and just back up the exit a little bit, like the middle part of the corner, apex on. You can really save your right front, and we were able to really do that. And it was so hard to pass. Once you kind of got 10-15 laps in, you just kind of had to dime in the corner and you were able to fend off. So despite my efforts for kind of being able to run on that line and keep speed, it just was so freaking hard to pass. And Seth and Chad are no slouches either, so getting by them wasn't an easy feat at all. So just had to pit early and maintain the car. It was definitely loose off, but I like a car loose off, and we were able to hang on.
So how do you feel about your road course racing skills coming up here at Lime Rock?
I'm looking forward to it, brother. I got to tell you, Lime Rock, I've never really driven, but I love road course racing, and the Xfinity car is a heck of a challenge, and I'm looking forward to it.
Any shout outs you'd like to give here tonight?
Yeah, just my road team, Project Valorous, my oval team, Nexus Esports. They're doing a hell of a job in round two right now. Looking forward to seeing how they're doing, moving up here the rest of these races. And VSPEED and yourself for doing a hell of a job on the broadcast. I know you do a great job broadcasting, so looking forward to watching this one back.
Once again, congratulations on the victory here tonight.
Thank you.
Once again, AJ Stravado comes away with the Group A victory in this one. Standing alongside now for second spot in this one, Seth Hatchell. He fought as hard as possible to get the run. He's with Bradley in second.
Excuse me. Yeah, my voice cracked there for just a second. I'm still coming off of the surprised face. You guys, 7 different leagues put together here. Seth, did you expect this race to go caution free all the way through?
No, I definitely didn't. Off the go there, just trying to get the lead and really expected a caution pretty quick, to be honest with you. Probably led to me burning my tires up there that first run and holding everybody up there. But such a cool deal going on here. So thanks to everybody doing this. Really happy with the second place finish. That puts us in really good position going into Lime Rock, which can almost be more of a wild card than here, where you got a bunch of room. Whereas Lime Rock, it's pretty tight course, and a lot of these guys probably aren't as versed in road course racing. But really happy with the second place finish here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a wild card. And speaking of wild card, you went long here. You led a lot of laps, 32 of them to be exact. So you're going to have a bonus point in your back pocket for actually 2 of them. And you took away the lead very early. You got by the pole sitter in the 70 of Aaron Smith. Did you feel like you were using your stuff up out there in the clean air, or was it just kind of tough to gauge what you were doing based off that relative?
It was tough to gauge. There wasn't a whole lot of warm up. So I felt decent on my 10 lap average in practice, but at times I felt like I was pushing it too hard, and other times I felt like I wasn't. I think a lot of that has to do to this racetrack being great at rewarding different driving styles. I felt like I was carrying a bunch of center speed, whereas a lot of the guys that I end up holding up there towards the end of the race or into that first run were stopping more on center and then getting a better exit. So that sort of told me what I needed to do that second run to try and run AJ back down. I knew when I came out, I think I was 8th, that I was going to have a tough time getting to him. And I was kind of surprised I got back to him. But I sort of got that top rolling and was sort of able to figure out how to save the right front a little bit more and get back to him and race him there for a lap or so. It was going to be really hard to get by him, but happy with the second place.
Yeah, excellent job. I mean, you raced back up there. It seemed like your tires didn't equalize until you got to the back of Stravado, and I think had you had a couple more laps, maybe a shot there at the victory. But congrats on leading the most laps. Great day here in the inaugural VSPEED Invitational. Phenomenal show you guys put on. Anybody would like to shout out here before we go to Lime Rock?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for doing a great job with the broadcast, letting everybody at home watch. Got to thank all the sponsors that hopped on board for this invitational, letting us do what we do. Got to thank VSPEED as a whole for doing a great job putting this on. Got to thank all the drivers putting on a great race tonight, and my team VSPEED.
Well, with that, we appreciate your time, Seth Hatchell. Second place here at Auto Club. Looking really good in the points here as we go to round number 2 of the eliminations at Lime Rock Park. Thank you for your time, Seth.
Thank you, guys.
Seth Hatchell coming away, yes, again, in second position here tonight. Third spot went the way of one Eric Hutton, and he picked up a ton of time at the pit window initially. Eric, you full on sent it to be able to gain the time you did in the pit stop window. What was going through your mind as you try to gain that time and, better yet, maintain that time to the finish?
Yeah, I saw whoever it was in front of me, Chuck or whoever, kind of took a weird entry, kind of like a narrow, shallow entry, and I felt like I could gain a lot of time. And then, yeah, at the end, I realized I was cooking it pretty hot, but just had to make something work. Didn't have winning speed, but just trying to gain some time there, and luckily was able to hold on to it.
What did you think about this combination to start off the series tonight?
Yeah, it was a fun combo. Really was expecting it to get pretty tight there, but thankfully it didn't. And had a good balance. The guys saving, the guys just holding their position, but still having speed. So it's good combination. Glad strategy could come involved there, and we could just stay green. So probably gonna be a little bit different for next race, but it was a good combo.
I was about to ask, what do you think about your road course racing skills for the next one?
Well, I did a little practice and felt decent, and then I heard the times everybody else was running. So I think we'll have to go in and just try not to get involved in a wreck. And I think if we can do that, we'll probably have a decent finish.
Any shout-outs you'd like to give for your race tonight?
I just appreciate everybody putting this on and all the teammates helping me.
Congratulations on the run once again, Eric.
I appreciate it.
Eric Hutton rounds out your top three here tonight. In our first grouping, our second grouping, Alex Bell picked up the win over Miranda, along with Michael Sturgill. Of note, Michael Sturgill had led much of the way before the pit stop window. McWhorter, Massey, the top five. On the bubble for the cutoff was Kai Jones, believe. Kyle Stort was 16th. Thurkel finished 15th. Hodges cost amongst those outside the top 10, as well as Langton and Allen. Interesting races to begin the night here, Bradley. But hey, we have one more grouping of races to go.
Yes, we do, and that's officially the mark here where we're going to take a little break and get rounded up. We'll have a couple more of these drivers here during practice to bring up here into the booth and get a quick chat. Maybe we'll talk with Dennis Faircloth or a couple of these guys that didn't quite make the top 18, see what their game plan is for Lime Rock. But again, we're going to take a short break here on the VSPEED Invitational Group A. Stay tuned. We've got one more to go here before it's all said and done. And then, then we're going to settle it out for the top 36. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the VSPEED Invitational. Tonight, our shuffle now moves us road course racing. For the second portion of tonight's rotation for the VSPEED Invitational, we're at Lime Rock Park here on iRacing. Tonight's action, once again, brought to you in part by VRX, by Walking and Rolling, by 29 Graphics, and by Keo by Prolivio. Tonight, we've seen some exciting action so far from California. And now, we look to see where the excitement lies out at Lime Rock here, Bradley. This should be a fun road course race.
Absolutely should be. I mean, it's one of the simpler road courses here on the iRacing service. It's, one hairpin 180 to the right and then a quick left, and then it's 4 or 5 rights right after that. You shouldn't have too much trouble learning the place, but the part where this place gets technical, there's a crest here as we're watching on board with Chris Justice right now. You're going to go right over top of this crest right here, and that's where the track gets really treacherous because this car transitions. There's a lot of weight coming up over that hill at a very high speed of over 120, 130 miles per hour.
And it's going to provide some interesting racing, but also interesting to see which drivers race better in this combination and those who are looking to bounce back, so to speak. We've seen a fair amount of drivers look solid on the speedway, but already seen a lot of shuffle compared to the road course, where a lot of people are having a hard time finding where the pavement is.
Yeah, that was Yusuf Ghali that just went off there into the grass, and it's going to be like that in practice. These guys are going to find the limitations, and that's what you usually don't see here on VSPEED. Is we see Aaron Smith out there fastest in practice right now with a 53.884. But all these drivers out here are doing right now is they're going to use up as much of this practice to find where the car's limit is. Where can they push the car, where they can back it up a little bit and maybe save tires. And, a few of these guys are going to go out here and just run qual laps because they want to start up front and avoid the carnage, because that's what's going to be here for the first few laps. Bring that back up on your screen here. You got to talk about the overall here on the schedule. This is the second stage here of Group A, and we're going to eliminate our bottom 5 drivers from this split. This Lime Rock is going to be the decider on the finalization of points. And then tomorrow night at 9 p.m., we're going to go to Richmond Raceway and finish this whole thing up at Chicagoland. So this is the one. This is the one if you're going to recover from what happened at Auto Club, maybe a connection issue or getting caught up in there was a couple accidents that didn't bring out yellows. This is your chance to come back.
It's going to be an interesting time to see which drivers have that chance, which drivers are not able to take advantage of this chance before we enter the final round tomorrow night, once again at the short track in the intermediate, should say, compared to the 2-mile over and road course of tonight. It should be a fun night. Still have about 17 minutes before the cars get rolling. Let's talk about the racetrack. Lime Rock Park, once again, the road racing center of the East, they call it. It's been around since 1956, but these days, it provides a very fast track, less than a minute a lap.
Yeah, and this is the classic version without the chicanes, and quite a few people were thankful we didn't add that portion into the racetrack because these chicanes, definitely more difficult. This car, very difficult to get woed up there as you have the really fast back half of this racetrack just before the finish line. You're definitely going to go over 150 miles per hour at certain points of this as they go down the front stretch. Aaron Smith hit 156 just before braking to that hard right-hand 180. And then it's the uphill for me. Personally, I don't like this car when it changes. It defies gravity, if you will, and very upsetting to an independent rear end. So you have to be careful and judge where that car is going to come back to the pavement, where it's going to reload that suspension. It's a very difficult task here in a stock car that weighs over 3,400 pounds.
It's going to be one of those races, too, where track position likely going to be very pivotal. It's going to be hard to go from back to front here at Lime Rock Park, to say the very least. So that being said here, still a lot of time for these drivers to prepare. Aaron Smith II, no shock, top of the board by half a second over Yusuf Ghali. AJ Stravado, he mentions road course racing team in third in session.
He just put up a win there, so he's going to come out here and put up a top 3 in practice. And again, he was only, what, 4th or 5th during qualifying? He wasn't projected the fastest car, but over the long run, Stravado, like I said, he's the one to watch. And you asked me, who was I paying attention to? Well, there you go. I'm 1 for 1 right now, Justin, so let's see if he makes me completely honest or if he has problems here at Lime Rock.
True test, to say the least, on how these drivers will play this racetrack well. And how these drivers will, in many cases, make passes. That seems to be one of the themes I'm noticing, is it's going to be hard to make a pass around here.
Absolutely. Very narrow in certain parts of the racetrack. And here's a look to the inside. Quentin Stewart, the inside of Seth Hatchell. Little contact there to move him up. But this is kind of like, you know, you have hairpins at places like Infineon and Laguna Seca, but this hairpin is kind of a double. It's elongated. It's kind of like a carousel, if you will, at Watkins Glen, where you're not quite a 180, and then you have to get back on the brakes to slow it down for the exit. You see Quentin Stewart going to park it here, but there's a few of these guys that I've wanted to talk to, and I'm hunting for them right now. I think we're going to pull up the driver, Dennis Faircloth, here in the number 80 up into the broadcast booth. Dennis Faircloth, Bradley Cooper, Justin Prince in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy?
I guess.
Well, you had a just outside there at the Auto Club, but looking to do a little bit better. I know you're kind of a road course ringer. You think that you put yourself over that top 18 here in the second heat?
I'm going to try to. I probably would have finished top 14, but I messed up on pit road. I slid through my stall and the person in front of me, and then halfway through that one, in front of that one, and then I was too far left, and then I went to leave pit road, and I was still in reverse. So, yeah, it was just not going to happen in California. So.
Well, we go to the opposite end of the country here, and maybe you'll feel a little bit better in East Coast time. It's going to be about 10th or so. You're about mid-pack here through practice, but I've seen you get a win here on VSPEED, and it was at a road course, if I remember correctly, Road America?
Yeah, but apparently it's the only road course I'm good at lately, so we'll see.
Well, Sim Magic 80 machine looking to recover here and stout competition, but we appreciate it, Dennis. Anybody you'd like to shout out while we have you up here?
Shout out to you guys putting this together, and yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you for your time, Dennis, and appreciate you coming out here. Thank you for the attendance, and maybe we'll talk to you post-race.
All right, thanks.
Good luck. And there's the number 80, Dennis Faircloth. He's going to be starting based off time right now. He's looking about mid-pack. Probably can pull off a top 10 here to start the race.
We'll see if that ends up being the case. Right now, he has been turning the laps there on track. Been setting about 12th best on racetrack in final practice. And a lot of drivers did mention that they wanted the practice, especially drivers in the air groupings like Bell. It's a track where you need to be able to get some experience down if you don't know it. We're seeing a lot of these drivers really try and figure out a way to know it in fast. Mind you, this race, correct me if I'm wrong, a little bit different on the format compared to the air one, where there is a scheduled break in this race.
I'll have to confirm that with Adam. I believe you, Justin. But yeah, as far as I know, race analysis up on your screen, full course cautions will be off. But if there is a scheduled break, I'll have to confirm that. But yeah, 35 laps and 3 sets of tires, just like before, 80% fuel. This track, clocks into just over or just under 2.5 miles. So yeah, I don't know. I'll go confirm that real quick, Justin. But I'm fairly certain that could be a case there because, like I said, it's one of those tracks that if you don't have a caution, maybe these guys get so spread out from something happening early, got to give them a shot.
Now keep in mind, this is from the event info side as well. It was mentioned that only times cautions would be thrown was if there was a track blocker. So in other words, about a 7-car length deep and wide incident. should be enough to bring one out if it comes down to it. Outside of that, Barney will put the yellow flag away, except for when necessary. Take a look at some of the other drivers as they continue to work around the racetrack here. Who else is standing out to you in this practice session?
Honestly, I'm looking at Quentin Stewart. I'm looking at Bridger Olson. I think Olson is plenty fast enough to recover. You know, had problems. He got back up there at Auto Club. No reason if he gets a good qualifying spot that he couldn't go up here and win this thing. But you know, I heard some talking, and I'm going to stick with my guy Stravato. I've heard some talks. Yusuf Ghali, who's very fast, you know, he's confident, but he said, I think Stravato is going to walk away from this. So I don't know that you could pick any particular driver here because of, you know, it's one of the racetracks that, you know, you don't really race at very often in this car combination. Yeah, that's an interesting question. What about you, Justin? You got anybody that you're looking at right now that stands out?
Well, Olsen, I think, has to stand out a little bit. That's going to be one of those to keep it on because of what happened in their respective race. We've seen Olsen not put up a qualifying time, charge up to mid-pack, and if it wasn't for their incidents, probably would have been in the conversation for the top 5, if not the top 10 by the end of that race. They're going to have a lot to prove. Olsen right now is 7/10 off the top time of the session, but it's even better than Stravato on raw pace, it seems, even though he's mightily loose.
Yeah, and that's just going to come down to what kind of start do you get here. It could be one of those races like we had at Auto Club where, you know, a couple guys got into problems early. We had, you know, Quentin Stewart, who definitely was a top 10 driver, have problems. You saw Bridger Olson get into problems as well and get sent to the back of the field. So many different instances through this season, or through the seasons on VSPEED, watching these guys race with each other, have shots at wins and have problems early in races. So it's how you recover through the season that really matters most. We're going to do the condensed version of that. We're really going to put these guys on the hot seat, right on the burner, because you get to remember that mistake within 25 minutes of just making it. That's the problem there. You don't have a whole week to recover and change your mindset. So it's going to be who can do that the fastest, I think, that's going to stand out the most here.
Still 8 minutes to work with before we get to the qualifying session as we continue to watch Alon. Also doing well this session, Caleb Weekly. And I've seen him do well in the road courses. Not sure about you, Bradley. I've seen him in MX-5 competition do pretty solidly in his number 10.
Yeah, and he's one of those drivers from SNR that has come a long way. When we first started watching, Caleb Weekly had some struggles, but season number 2 started, got a solid top 3 there. A couple of them, actually. He was in the top 10 a lot, and he's come a long way. He's one of the Neon Autosport drivers that, you know, he got put into Group A, which is, we just talked about how stacked it was with some of the I ratings in here. And, you know, for him to be 8th fastest in a road course here in this grouping, that proves that he has definitely got the talent.
And right now, the talent sees him in the top 8. You mentioned wanting to keep it on Stewart. He absolutely needs to do well this race. He might need a win, in fact, with him basically being last in the last race.
He is definitely pushing this car. So we're on board with him. Looks like maybe not happy with the way this thing's handling as it came over that crest. But yeah, he has to do well here. It was a disconnect after got damage, and I feel bad because, you know, he's one of the few drivers here representing QSR, and we've broadcasted for them now for 2 consecutive seasons. They added on a B car season there on VSPEED and Tuesday nights, but they did their 2nd season of the QSR Chase for the Cup, and Quentin Stewart owning and operating that league does a phenomenal job. A great group of guys. I would love to see him advance to the top 18. I know he's got the talent and the know-how. And honestly, you know, this isn't being unbiased or biased or anything like that, but, you know, it's always good to see league admins succeed especially since those are the guys that pay the bills here. Keep the lights on at VSPEED.
Less than 6 minutes to go in this session. Chad Cleaner, by the way, has jumped up to second in practice and had a bit of argy-barginess to end off the last race. This race looking to finish things off a little bit cleaner in the very end of the checker flag.
I have to say, whoever painted that machine did a fantastic job with choosing that blue. That is a beautiful car. It almost looks reminiscent of the Ryan Newman chromed out car back in the early 2000s when he was driving for, I believe it was Penske. And that just, that is beautiful. I love the chrome on it. But you know what I also love seeing? Him up there fighting in the top 5 all race long. Chad wasn't messing around at Auto Club. And we got some practice in earlier in the week. He was one of the guys that was, he was like letting guys know, like, hey, I'm coming, I'm here, and I'm going to push myself, taking it very serious here for the elimination rounds. And I think Chad, he's one of those guys that, you know, as long as you race him clean, he'll race you clean. So we got to see how clean that stays at a track like this.
It's going to be a curious operation to watch for. Olsen, mind you, is up to second now. Downside, Aaron Smith, yet again, is flying on short run pace. And apparently, he mentioned the reason he slowed down so much is every car on his screen disappeared on the front straightaway last race. That's why he had his issue.
Well, that is very sportsmanlike conduct there by the 70 of Aaron Smith to give up a top 5 finish. You know, with the ability to know and be aware of your surroundings. You know, the average person in an official lobby would have just kept going and then reappeared inside someone's car. So for Aaron Smith to do that, huge shout out from VSPEED to that guy right there.
Well, he might be one of your favorites, though, when it comes to this road course. Anytime I've seen anything with the roll full complexes, anything with the road courses and stock cars, he is usually entered into the series. And he should be one of your favorites as a result. Looking at the 52, Chris Justice, just outside the top 10 in the session. Justice, he had some good speed in the last race.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did. And, you know, coming out just inside or just outside the top 10 there for the final finish, got 12th. So he's not in a terrible spot, but he also can't afford to relax too much. He's going to have to maintain. If he gets, you know, dead last, that could be one of those instances where everyone behind him finishes ahead of him. It could put him in a pickle. So, you know, only 6 spots separate him in that cutoff line. He's going to have to be careful here today at Lime Rock. But, yeah, he showed pace, and he's shown pace now. He's mid-pack. No reason to panic just yet. But, again, we got to see how this race cycles through, Justin, because it's one of those places that even though we have that break there at lap 15, you could have 2 or 3 cars totaled and out of this thing into turn 1.
You don't want to be one of those people out in turn 1, absolutely, in a race like this tonight. Take a look at some of the others that are set up here. We didn't see much of Bailey, for example, in the race. He's the one that was at pit road. Also keeping an eye on some of the others that you're mentioning. I believe it was Chuck Sweeting, for example. He is all the way back in the 55-second bracket still in the session. Has not been able to find 2 seconds to close up for top times for the end of this session, it looks like.
It looks like Sweeting is actually going to be in a decent spot, though. He could afford to run a little bit poorly in this one after getting 7th just at Auto Club. However, it's one of those things that, okay, how much do you want to push it? If he feels like he only has, you know, 15th place speed, don't go exceed beyond that, because we could have a lot of attrition in this race that could put you in a top 10 situation very easily. So, yeah, just taking his time. Sweeting not hitting the panic button and looking to make that top 18 cut. He's in a good spot.
All it's going to matter is get the points, right? As long as you get the points, be very comfortable for tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take another short break here just before we hit qualifying. You're watching Group A in the VSPEED Invitational. This is race number 2 at Lime Rock. We'll be back on VSPEED right after this.
Racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big dive with water. Might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he bumped in the wall. They're gonna crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
back to tonight's coverage of the VSPEED Invitational here on VSPEED as our series continues with running at Lime Rock Park. Qualifying just about to a conclusion here. Of note for the point standings, just received the details for the standings for Group A. Stravado, of course, your points leader with 41, but your cutoff line, Dennis Fairclough, 1 point back of Casey Ellis, is the difference for the standings before we get to the road course side of Group A here tonight. Of note for Group B here this evening, the cutoff right now controlled by Jones over Bracco, who joined initially in the wrong grouping. He is in Group B. Right now that difference 1 point as well. And a couple of the battles to keep an eye on for those drivers. The qualifying's already come to a close here for tonight. It's time to get ready to list them off. 22 starters ready to get things going at a track from Auto Club. Now coming all the way over to Lime Rock. Aaron Smith II, Yusuf Ghali on the front row. Their difference near a full second in qualifying pace. AJ Stravado will be on your next tab with Chad Kleiner in the 4th position. Rounding up the top 5 starting spots tonight in row number 3 is Bridger Olsen, and it'll be alongside Morgan Cook, who got a much better qualifying run. Chris Simard is in row 4. Quentin Stewart got turned around and did not finish. He needs a dominant run to move up. He's in 8th. Rounding your top 10 starting spots, Seth Hatchell all the way back in 9th. And Eric Hutton is in 10th, Bradley.
11th spot's going to go to Philip Brewer with Caleb Weekly. Solid finishes for both those cars. They're inside the top 18 for the start and after Auto Club. Dennis Fairclough, he's just outside that cutoff line, like JP mentioned just a second ago, by 1 point over Casey Ellis, so he's going to have to perform well here in this one. Chris Justice, 14th here tonight. Chuck Sweeting, you know, he was 15th fastest in practice. He turned 1 lap there that put him up to 13th, but looks like he's just going to have to salvage the day. Julio Villalobos, who finished 21st, he's going to have to recover from that race at Auto Club, starting 16th. 17th, Reggie Ortega. Jeremy Bailey will begin 18th here. Then rounding out your top 20, it's Casey Ellis, who's on the cutoff, and Steven Aguilar.
Back in 21st, Greg Pillar, one of the 2 not to set a qualifying time. He'll start at the tail. William Britton with him as well to round out the field. 22 cars, so we lost a couple starters per se, but the 22 we do have, they'll have 35 laps to race it out. Already got the confirmation break at lap 15. What are your keys to a good race here at Lime Rock?
Survive to the end. That's all you can do. If you're one of those guys that's running at the top 5 speed, run it. But if you're outside of that and you're aware that you're not up to pace, there's no reason to push it. This is one of those tracks that you have to wait for the attrition. Somebody else is going to make a mistake. And with it being so narrow and so difficult to overtake, you're better off to just let the guy in front of you mess up and pass him that way instead of going up there and pushing the issue. Again, it's one of those wars of attrition that we've seen here on VSPEED. We've seen here notoriously in iRacing. Don't make your own mistakes. Let somebody else make them for you.
Who do you think is going to get the job done in this race?
Based off of this qualifying, it's going to be really interesting, but I think the 70's going to have a better time. So long as he doesn't have that connection issue, I think Aaron Smith can get the victory. But again, I'm going to go back and talk about AJ Stravado. He's kind of the sleeper back here in 3rd. He did the same thing at Auto Club. No reason he can't do the same thing here at Lime Rock.
We have a few more corners before they get rolling. It's Aaron Smith II. It's Yusuf Ghali in the front row. Race 2 for Group A at the VSPEED Invitational. All set to go. Happy with us still here on VSPEED. Can Aaron Smith get a clean launch? Can the field keep it clean for 35 laps? Let's find out. Green flag is out. We're underway from Lime Rock.
This is the telltale right here. Who makes it into turn 1 and who makes it out of turn 2?
Looks like everybody makes it out of turn 1
car off the
except
track.
for one.
Chad Klinger in the 09, the 3 wide out of the exit of 2.
That shoves him all the way back from 4th starting spot, all the way back outside the top 10. Of note, Dennis Fairclough had to start from pit road. He did not make the starting grid from 13th. Not going good for his points hauls as the mid-pack continues to shuffle.
Philip Brewer picking up quite a few spots. He's already up 2 positions here, up to 10th, just outside of the top 10. There for a moment was Eric Hutton. He's going to pass for 9th. But yeah, a few of these guys already, they saw opportunities, they took him. Aaron Smith going to lead lap 1.
Now we'll see how long he keeps up this rapid pace. He was absolutely flying when it came to qualifying single run pace we touched upon. And as they make their way to the left-hander, let's follow it on board with the 70.
He's doing a phenomenal job of not overcooking these tires. He's getting on the gas really easy. That's very difficult to do in this B car, especially with that solid rear end, and that axle is just, you know, snapping free. It's almost like having leaf springs back there, the way this car is designed. And so, actually, I think it is leaf springs if I'm correct on that.
Well, either way, gap is slowly growing. You can see how quickly these laps are going to fly. Yusuf Ghali having trouble with the back end for a moment. He has to battle it out with Stravato.
Stravato is going to close the gap back up. Again, sleeper back here. The 33 being very patient, but the top 3 have pulled away. Bridger Olsen, about 1.5 seconds back from this grouping. Now, again, we got that cutoff there at lap 15 where we're going to reset the field, and maybe Olsen just kind of sizing this up, waiting it out. Got a couple other guys that have caught up a couple of spots. There's Chris Simard, started back in the 7th position, up to 5th now in the 77. Really solid. Morgan Cook, who started in 6th. Great qualifying effort. He's kept it there. He needs a recovery from some of the troubles he had early at Auto Club, but up over that hill, left the ground a little bit. That was a good angle there to show how these cars get really light through that crest.
That run through No Name's going to catch a lot of people off guard if they aren't used to it. And higher speed cars than the stock cars, they could absolutely go 2, 3, 4 wheels off the ground, middle sector. So already on lap 4, and a good rhythm being set in particular by Stewart, still in 8th.
When Stewart has absolutely done what he needs to do, he could probably afford a couple more spots just to lock that up, but I think 8th is probably good enough here if he can maintain that. He's got the speed here. He's shown he got by or kept maintaining his position there. Didn't lose any spots at the start when everybody else was maybe falling back. I'm going to talk about a guy that lost a lot of positions on the rebound. Chad Klinger back up to 11th, but he fell back to 14th position. He's got a lot of ground to make up after starting in the top 5.
He's right now going to have a hard time to do so until at least the lap 15 mark. And it's pretty clear, if you don't make mistakes, it's going to be hard to get around you. If you do make mistakes, well, we've already talked about what happened. Looks like a lot of people yawing out the rear tires, though, for the opening corners.
Speaking of, we talked about tough break. Dennis Faircloth happened to start from the pits. This is not what he needs. If he wants to get by Casey Ellis, he's going to have to get 2 more spots. Ellis right on the cutoff mark again here. Just like at Auto Club, he was running in 18th. He's currently 18th right now, and Dennis Faircloth is about 7/10 back. So if he wants a chance to get that 1-point advantage over the 35, he's got about 7/10 to make up to do so. Actually, recalculating on that, Greg Pillar is 2 seconds back, so they've got almost 3 seconds away from the 35 car.
Well, Pillar is the next one up for Faircloth at the very least, so there's that part of the equation. Faircloth's already passed by William Britton, who's fallen back several spots there. He had 22 points coming in to Faircloth's 18. There's that part of the equation a little bit. Outside of that, it's going to take getting all the way up to possibly Weekly in 14th for the leapfrog, the next best driver in the queue.
Yeah, and Caleb is sitting here. He's running pace with Reggie Ortega. Definitely top 10 possible here for this grouping. That's, you know, Chuck Sweeting, Reggie Ortega, Julio Villalobos. No reason these guys couldn't get up there. Villalobos, of course, he needs to have a solid run. He needs probably 3 or 4 positions. But if you're Caleb Weekly right now, I wouldn't panic. I wouldn't panic if you're, Chuck Sweeting or any of these guys. Again, it's one of those things where you knew the schedule coming in. Have a good day at Auto Club, and then just come here and try to just put on cruise control, if you will. Get the best you can at Auto Club. If you get a top 5, you can afford to kind of back things up here and not get into anybody's day. Aaron Smith, who, he had problems with the connection. I think if he can keep a solid race here and make sure the internet cooperates, and right now with where he's sitting, not having to worry about anybody around him, even if he does have a slight connection issue, he can continue to run. He might just lock this thing up on pace.
Right now he's up by 2 seconds. Yet again, Murex side in particular, part of his entry pathway. He's absolutely got some comfortable grip out there. 54.4s. He's only got 0.3 of a second of fall off compared to many of the others.
Yeah, his last lap of 54.6, his best of 54.1. He's consistent. Nobody else on the racetrack has ran that lap. And in practice, he was in the 53s during qualifying in the 53s. It was a full second back to Yusuf Ghali. That's incredible pace here. A little bit of off track there, using all of the racing surface out of the exit to turn 3 for Yusuf Ghali. And I think it's going to be a tall order for AJ Stravato to even catch up to Aaron Smith if he does get around Yusuf Ghali, because that lead continues to stretch out.
We'll say, again, doing well. You mentioned Morgan Cook. His experience, of course, worked with VSPEED Networks through the years. Now his 51. He seems very planted. Everyone else seems to be balancing like almost on a balancing ball with how they are on the throttle. Cook, he seems very planted. Not really sending it. Never mind, he just about spun it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you talk about a guy. It tends to throw him out of whack. Maybe some of these guys watch us in the background. I don't know how they could stand to do it, Justin. I can't stand the sound of my own voice when I'm just broadcasting, but hearing this all in real time while we're racing at speed.
Turn 1. Dennis Fairclough off the racetrack just made contact with Casey Ellis, and that is your battle for 18th that just about had a wreck for what is for a tie now in the points.
Oh, and off the track there for Fairclough. He is pushing it really hard. We'll have to go back on the VSPEED instant replay to see what happened there. But, very easy to do. Maybe just a little lockup on the tires there and got into him. Yeah, he slides off the racing surface, takes him with him. See if we can get another angle here right quick before we go back to the live shot.
And remember, we talked about Fairclough needing these spots, needing to make some passes up. Well, he tried it, and when it's very easy to cook the corner like that.
I mean, he's in 18th here. We go back to the live shot. He got by Casey Ellis. Ellis had more problems and lost another couple positions. Steven Aguilar is just ahead of him there. But if you're Casey Ellis right now, how upset could you be that the guy that you're battling in points just slid through turn 1 and took you out of the race?
I think your answer is not going to be happy. Yeah. I mean, would you be happy?
I know Casey Ellis is a pretty chill guy, though, and even coming into this thing, he's like, yeah, I'll come in here. I'll give away an entry fee. I just want to participate. And he's a good sport, but again, it's like you got a chance here to make the top 18 on this cut. You don't want it to go wrong based off of somebody else's mistake there, and still plenty of racing. And like we said, lap 15, going to group these guys back up. I wouldn't count Casey Ellis out of it yet by a long shot.
Take a look at the front runners yet again. Yusuf seems very comfortable yet again. Just not in the same ballpark of pace compared to your leader, but he's almost falling into the slides and maintaining speed compared to Stravato.
Yeah, Stravato a little off here. Maybe conserving some of the tires and you know, we have 3 tire sets available, but we've seen on the A car and the new A car, a lot of guys will just come down and top off with fuel. They won't even take tires. So I'm interested to see what the setup here for Mid-Ohio is actually the setup we used here at Lime Rock. What that's going to entail. Is it going to be beneficial to take no tires because you'll have that heat, these tires already warmed up, or is the B car just kind of burning off the front tires and you'd be better off to take them? I'm not sure, but you know, if you're guys like Dennis Faircloth, Casey Ellis, or even Greg Pillar, maybe a no tire stop would be the call to get all these positions.
Do you risk it though with this track? There's already 7/10 to 1 second of fall off depending on where you are in the field. As Faircloth.
Uh-oh.
Yet again, another off.
Right now he's in the cut line. He's in the cut line based off of my math, and Casey Ellis falling back to 21st, 1 lap down. It looks like Ellis has actually come down pit road just shy of the competition caution, we'll call it. But yeah, I don't know. Ellis might have just signed off there and handed it to Dennis, who is still struggling. Steven Aguilar caught up to him there briefly. It was the 15 of Jeremy Bailey that was in front of the 80. And Faircloth hasn't been able to really pass anybody.
Seems like he's quicker than Bailey, though. Bailey is holding on. Hearing that the leader just took the white flag for comp yellow per race control, Cody Anderson. So Aaron Smith up by near 6 seconds, looking to put a lap down Greg Pillar.
And I believe we have some cars that are coming down pit road here. And there was no rules written about closing pit road, so a lot of these guys came down into the pits. They're going to try to get this service done and get down and away and have the advantage on track position. Yusuf Ghali, another one of those.
So a bold call from some of the drivers. Ghali yet to come out of the box, got a speeding penalty. We're now hearing. And his question, are the wave arounds? Well, he's going to have to find out in a minute. Aaron Smith, caution.
Some of these guys got back out on the racetrack just in time. You saw Morgan Cook come back out there. Remember, this is a shorter road course, so it's not like, Infineon where it takes over a minute to get around. You could very easily go a lap down still. Greg Pillar lost a lap there. Yusuf Ghali with the speeding penalty. We'll have to wait and see if they do any wave arounds or not.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's going to get one if, it's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
You speed in the pit lane, well, you speed, you pay.
Yeah, that's just a mistake. Yeah, we've pretty much dictated that we're going to let iRacing settle these things as to not, have any mistakes or, accidentally favor one driver over another. As far as black flags go, Yusuf Ghali served his penalty there with a hold, but unfortunately he's going to lose a lap, and that'll put him outside of the top 20, or just inside the top 20 to restart here.
Might be able to get a wave around once they hit here, though. It's going to take a couple laps to be able to cycle things around here. So Chris Simard got up to third with that. Hatchell to fourth, Kleiner to fifth. As they come into the pit lane, into the lane they roll for their scheduled stop to be able to get them to the end.
Now I'm interested to see. It looked like Morgan Cook took 4 tires. He'll stand to benefit the most here with a lap led. He'll be up front, but it's the 70 machine of Aaron Smith. Looks like fuel only for this car? No, he's got, okay, good. I was wondering, I didn't get to see the left side go up on that car. So down and away here, AJ Stravado, he's gonna come out in third. Chris Simard gains a few spots. He gains 2 positions. He gets ahead of Seth Hatchell here. Gonna be restarting in fourth. Seth Hatchell was just short at Auto Club of getting that win after leading 32 laps. You're going to come out in 5th spot. Looking like, you know, Chad Klinger, Seth Hatchell, AJ Stravado, they're all locked up here with the finishes they had. But again, it'd be nice to go up there and get some of that bonus money. I think Aaron Smith might be the guy to beat based off of this time.
So we'll see how this now goes, especially with the flip of the script being played upon, as you said, by the 51. Wave around cars. Pillar yet to come in for service. We'll see, should see, I was about to say, Golly on the wave.
Hopefully that gives him the ability, even with the penalty serve, that he can get back on the lead lap. Just wait and see what iRacing does, but
Should. It looks interesting that Pillar doesn't elect to take tires here, though.
good for Yusuf.
Able to get back on the lead lap, but it's going to be a last to first challenge, so to speak. Morgan Cook getting some lead laps up front, though. Can he hold on? Will Aaron Smith find a way to blow his doors off once they come up to the start box?
Yeah, this is the time where you ran. You said he was really planted. He looked like one of the more consistent cars. Definitely a top 6, top 5 car out here on the racetrack. But you got to be careful here. Yeah, you got the lead. Don't get nervous. Just hold on to it. If these guys go to get around you, let 1 or 2 by. Don't push the issue. No reason to get too carried away. You got to know that that 70 car is probably a good half a second faster than you are, and you don't want to hold them up too much because you could end up in an accident here with Morgan Cook. I think he's definitely got a top 5 car, though. He could definitely salvage that, but I think Aaron Smith's going to be really tough to hold off.
About halfway to go in the race, 18 laps to go at the stripe. Cook trying strategy, in control. Aaron Smith led the way up to that caution. Led by as much as 5+ seconds, and now he'll try and find a way to grow the gap here if he can find a way around the 51. Safety car off. Up to the start box. Cook is off and away for the green. Keep an eye on the 70. He's already trying to clear on by for second. He does. Not now, though.
Stravado to the inside. Good move there by the 33, but they're going to hold each other up. This is going to allow Morgan Cook maybe a chance to pull away a little bit. They're going to go back and forth.
Try to go up and under, cross up. No place for Smith to go yet, though, and not the start that Aaron Smith wanted. He's all the way back to 3rd.
It's absolutely the start that Morgan Cook wanted, though, to get these guys racing each other. Stravado can hold him down for a little bit. Cook can absolutely run away with this lead. How about that for the 51? He's going to get a lap led under pace. Up to speed, half a second ahead of AJ Stravado out of the final corner. Morgan Cook officially leads a lap under green.
And he's breaking away in clean air for the time being over Stravado and company. This is going to be a show to watch, some of these battles. Hatchell also got a great launch to get himself to 4th.
Yep, got around Chris Simard there. How about Chad Klinger recovering? He was as far back as 14th, back up here into the top 10, running in 6th spot, all over the back bumper of the 77 as they go through the S's.
No place to lunge it yet for Clater. The front straightaway's been the prime passing chance today. Just try to stay in line, up and ready to make a move. As soon as there's a slide or a mistake coming up here. Speaking of slides, there's one from Sweeting.
Yeah, he actually had locked it up towards the inside of that rumble strip, and good heads-up move there to just, you know, not get back on the throttle or do anything crazy, let those guys go by and clear. That could have been really bad. I mean, we've seen it a couple times already this race where guys just overshoot the entry a little bit and get into each other. Up
front, though, Stravado now trying to get things worked up. He's starting to build up some momentum. Same for Smith.
Well, you can be all over the back bumper of that car, but now it's just a matter of putting the pressure on. As you see, actually a blink out there from Stravato briefly. When does he reappear? Where does he reappear? Connection issues for AJ Stravato. He might be out of this race.
Oh, that could be huge. Oh, he just popped up inside of Cook. And that's got Stravato all scared about. 3 wide for the race lead. Here comes Aaron Smith. He backs out of it. Morgan Cook. He slides it out. Stravato spins. Well
What a
then.
chain of events there, JP, that his car reappeared inside of Morgan Cook's.
Yeah, didn't have any idea, I think, what was going on there. And then all of a sudden, bam, hello. And then you have Aaron that's like, let's go 3 wide. Nope.
Stravato on the outside there locked it up. In contact there with Morgan Cook. Cook maintains the lead here. But here goes the pass for the lead. Back to the live shot. Over the crest.
Side by side for the front stretch. Cook lets him go. And to the lead, car 70. Of note, this run, Aguilar and Justice have both crashed and have both picked up meatball flags. They are both off circuit.
Steven Aguilar. He's going to probably lose a position here to Greg Pillar. Casey Ellis, who's 8 laps down, still getting damage repaired. It's a tough break for him. It looks like his final cut hopes for the final 2 races at Richmond and Chicagoland have been dashed. Morgan Cook, phenomenal job. I am very impressed with this 51. He wasn't one of the guys I was paying attention to, but he looks like he might have a top 3 car if he can hold up here. He's got Seth Hatch all over the back bumper, but you know, he had the same pace speed as Chris Simard and Jack Klinger. I think he can hold those guys off. He had 77 off the track there briefly.
Later jumps the Q, in fact, with that move. Able to zip on by into the downhill. And some of these drivers are a lot more aggressive compared to earlier.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, somebody told him that, you know, we only have 12, 13 laps to go. They're going to start pushing the envelope, and Jack Klinger starting to show his pace. You know, he didn't get a chance to really show it because he made that mistake there at the very beginning. But he had the speed to drive back up towards the top 10. And after pit stops, he showed that he can get out in and out of his stall really quickly. Back up into the top 5 for the 09, and another solid run. Compared to Auto Club, a little bit better here. He might be up in the top 2 positions before it's all said and done.
Indeed, with how things are looking right now. Simard getting extremely loose, just hit the guardrail in the backdrop. That's opened up the door for Olsen.
Chris Simard actually almost made a huge error there with the rumble strip the time before through that section. And he is struggling here. Falling back to 7th, has Philip Brewer behind him. Just got passed by Eric Hutton. We're approaching 10 to go. If you're Chris Simard right now, you want the bleeding to stop, but how do you make it stop?
Well, where can you find your nearest Band-Aid?
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those things where once the car starts to handle ill, you can't really recover from that. It's just a matter of backing up your corners. Unfortunately, you've got guys breathing down your neck. How do you back up a corner when somebody's all over your rear bumper? Maybe back up your throttle input, but again, somebody else is going to beat you to that as well. And you've got guys like AJ Stravato who are trying to recover some of the ground they lost. They're not going to give you any breaks. So you're along for the ride here if you're Chris Simard right now.
Up the road, Hatchell's taking 2nd. Cook just got back in line as Cleaner got the pass. So the 08 and 09, 2nd and 3rd on track. Cook, he is starting to really struggle compared to some of the others in the pack now.
Yeah, Cook is just a little off. He's a couple tenths off the guys that got by him. Bridger Olsen is another car that last time by was a little bit quicker. And I don't know if Morgan maybe is pushing it a little harder than he did in that first stint. Like I said, he had a top 10 car. He was running in 6th for a lot of that. But here it looks like maybe because he had the lead, he pushed it a little harder to maintain that, and the car maybe starting to handle a little rougher than it did in the first half of this race. Plus, JP, we got to account, this track's starting to rubber up. It's starting to get hotter. Weather up on the screen, it's 139 degrees. That's just as hot as it was at Auto Club, and they were slip sliding around there.
Yeah, that air temp's definitely got something to do with it. 86 yet again. A
It's
little bit
toasty
different
here in Connecticut.
Yeah, extremely toasty. It's summertime after all at iRacing Day, May 15, 2024 in session. So a hot session means a hot track, which means a slick track in terms of your grip conditions. Olsen, top 5 though, making up good ground.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what Olsen needs to do after the problems he had at Auto Club. I mean, again, he got a decent finish out of it, but it could have been a lot better. I mean, he's one of the guys that's over that 6,000 mark, and you know, we kind of expected him to do a little bit better at Auto Club, but I think it was just that qualifying. You know, maybe making a challenge out of it, and sometimes you can kind of regret that because you got so many cars to pass that increases the opportunities for mistakes to be made. And yeah, 67 car, a little off the pace there at Auto Club, a little off the pace here compared to what I thought he would do. Still a solid top 5 here tonight.
Still plenty of time to work with less than 9 laps to go on the board. Lap traffic in the grass. Greg Pillar having to stop in the grass to let by cars.
Greg Pillar pulls off to the... I mean, this is a very tough part to let cars by without getting in the way. He does it pretty cleanly, though. Now we're going to go back onto the loud pedal. While we were talking about all that, I mean, he's in his own area code at this point.
I mean, it's not a surprise yet again. He loves these types of races from what we've seen. He's absolutely loving the way it's gone, especially with some of the bad luck for a competitor like Yusuf Ghali. Yusuf, by the way, he's only got into 16th. He's not even near anybody right now by 6 seconds.
That might be part of, you know, having to catch up with that wave around. There's not a lot of time to get back around the racetrack before that pace car pulls off, safety car gets out of the way, and these guys go up to full song. So he might have got within a second or two of the back of the pack, but he might not have been fully caught up. And now he's still got 5.5 seconds to Caleb Weekly. Still fortunate, though, that, you know, he had the speeding penalty and still got the wave around. So lucky for him that he's even on the lead lap, because had that not scored exactly the way it was, iRacing could have pinned him a lap down.
Yeah, remember, the further back you go, even if you say you're eligible for the wave around, say you're a half a track back from pit road, everybody can point service, a lead car comes out in front of you in the pit lane, doesn't matter. You didn't pass by the leader to get your wave around by the end of their pit cycle. That didn't happen in this circumstance, thankful for the 54. But you know who's very thankful of a better run? Quentin Stewart, top 10.
Yeah, this is better. This is more of what I expected to see from Quentin Stewart, and this will put him right on the edge of that line. You know, just to seal the deal, I'd want to get 1 or 2 more spots, hopefully for his sake, and, you know, not hopefully for anybody that's up ahead of him, but if somebody does make a mistake, he can pick up 1 or 2 more spots, and there are a couple guys up there that can probably afford to lose 1 or 2. I'm talking about guys like Philip Brewer, had a pretty solid finish, Chris Simard. Some of these guys could be locked in here pretty much based off of the race at Auto Club. But again, it's good to see Quentin get in the top 10 so far. Just got to seal the deal here with 6 laps left.
Looking for the most part, the battle seems secure. We're looking, meanwhile, shows driver cam. That is Group B. And how have things been in Group B? Well, so far, a much different story on front runners there. Langton is the one leading up front. Sturgill, Murata, and Bell amongst those up front, gagged on in the top 5 over there. And so far, it's been interesting to see the comers and goers in that race, where a lot of different names that were not top 5 or 10 for the most part at Auto Club are now fighting away in the top 5 club here. 5 to go.
So how about this, though? Bridger Olsen has been kept at bay Morgan Cook doing a phenomenal job of keeping that 67 behind him. You can see the gap has grown to the top 3. But again, Morgan Cook, solid drive, a little loose there off of turn 2. But I think a lot of these guys being pretty patient with him with 5 to go. And as long as he doesn't make a huge mistake, I think this 51 could come away with a 4th place finish.
That'd be a great points haul, in fact. But Olsen seems hungry. He's all with the back bumper, waiting for a place to go yet again. Second time this lap, nearly rammed the 51 out of the way.
And that was right over the crest there. Got to be careful. I think he's just letting him know, like, hey, I'm a little quicker. I don't think Morgan wants to give up the spot, but I don't think he has a choice here. Out of the final corner, little mistake there from Olsen. He falls back to Eric Hutton, who's on the back bumper now.
We're all getting stacked up and locked in with each other here. Hutton, no place to go. He seems very comfortable and waiting to see what happens. Olsen trying to back up his corners, looking for a better run.
He's definitely in, the last 3 corners a little bit faster than Morgan Cook. It's down that. Oh, he makes a mistake off the track.
A huge mistake. In fact, he picks up contact with the wall. Olsen, just like that, 2 races, 2 mistakes with a slide off the surface. This puts him back to 9th.
See if we can get a better look at this up over that crest. As we were looking off the back of Morgan Cook, he just tagged one of those rumble strips to send it off into the grass and wasn't able to snap it back in time. Hits the inside, or I guess that would be the outside wall through that corner. He lost about 5 positions, back to 8th there. Back to 9th.
Fair bit back, but should be able to drive that car home as long as he doesn't make any more mistakes. Less than 3 to go. Sweeting trying to battle for 10th. Stewart has really been sliding off the rear tires as of late.
3 laps to go. This is crunch time. Can't afford any mistakes because you have no time to recover from it. You have to be perfect every lap from here on out. Any hiccup that puts you off the racetrack, like we just saw with the 67, could be detrimental to your finish. And, Olsen, definitely a top 5 car, but starting to struggle on handling. A lot of these guys starting to struggle on handling. Looks like Eric Hutton was able to get by the 51 here, and Morgan Cook in trouble.
Right now, a lot of driving deep into corners here. Able to make the pass now is Travato on his recovery drive with less than 2 laps to go. Simard also trying to find a way around him.
2 laps left. Aaron Smith again in his own time zone, 7 seconds ahead of this group. Seth Hatchell in 2nd. Looks like another runner-up here for Seth Hatchell. And then Chad Klinger, who had mistakes in lap 1, went off the racetrack, fell back to 14th, finds himself in 3rd. Looks like he's going to wrap up with a podium here as we approach white flag. Aaron Smith across the line.
Final time around the Sam Posey straight. Aaron Smith outright dominant to begin the night from the pole at Auto Club. Couldn't keep it up in the race, had tech issues. But on the road course, it's his domain. He keeps it calm and steady. He only has a half a lap to go.
8.5 seconds back to Seth Hatchell. Even if he does make a mistake, I think it would be a hard-fought thing for Seth to even be there at the end, up over the crest. No man's. He's going to come down for full speed. The final 3 corners, the 70 of Aaron Smith. Looks like he has it all wrapped up. Congratulations to him. He will get the bonus. He will be locked in. Good to go. Aaron Smith for the final round in the final 36.
Aaron Smith gets the win. He's your winner for Group A at Lime Rock and does it by almost 9 seconds. Dominating run, and now that puts him in prime position for tomorrow. Other finishers cross the stripe. Of note, Olsen holds on to 9th. Stewart does recover to 10th.
And everybody gonna do exactly what I thought.
Hey, Had to celebrate some way in some cases, I guess you could say. Unless your finishers need to cross the stripe, Greg Pillar. Once your final, in fact, will be your final car. To have to cross the stripe here. And he ends up being your 18th place finisher. Is that going to be enough on points? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. It's going to be really close. We'll have to get a final tally on that. Get you your standings here. But phenomenal racing. Again, shout out to all these guys that came in here and participated in that, representing over 8 leagues across the board. And when you put 8 different leagues together, guys that have never encountered racing with each other, and you go as clean as we did, caution free at Auto Club, really clean racing here at a track that's very technical. It makes the next 2 tomorrow night very promising for the action.
So celebration already underway for Aaron Smith. Let's take a look at how his burnout looked, as on that note, post-race coverage is coming up around the docket. You're watching VSPEED and the VSPEED Invitational, where Aaron Smith puts on a clinic to win the second half of Group A.
Racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further, because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League. racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big diving water. Might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Welcome back to our coverage here on the VSPEED Invitational. We're back live. We actually have some B-roll here from Auto Club, but it was Line Rock for the second event. And as we we're going to bring up some of those final results in just a moment from this race, but we have to take a quick look here at the points. I know it might be a little bit scaled, a little bit tiny for everybody, but it's going to be AJ Stravano overall. He's going to be up there with that one win, Seth Hatchell, but we go down to the cutoff line. Julio Villalobos Jr. by 1 point edges out Greg Pillar for that 18th spot.
Well, how about that with how close it got indeed. 1 point the difference. Greg Pillar just outside the picture by 1 spot. If he could have gone in front of Jeremy Bailey or anybody along those lines for laying by traffic, who knows? We might have seen a much more different tale. And in the end, excitement to say the very least throughout the entire racing tonight in Group A.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And as it goes, Hatchell, Aaron Smith getting that victory. He'll be third overall for this reset. Eric Hutton guaranteed locked in. Chad Klinger, Chris Simard, Philip Brewer, Chuck Sweeting, Yusuf Ghali, Morgan Cook, Reggie Ortega. And you've got Bridger Olson, who had a struggle in both races, getting 12th overall. Steven Aguilar is going to finish 13th on this overall points. Dennis Faircloth and Caleb Weekly tied for the 14th position. Then it's Chris Justice and Quentin Stewart makes it in after having the did not finish. He was out of the race very early. He gets a solid top 10 here today and brings it home good enough to make the cut for the final 2 races.
And so, Group B looked like this. Alex Bell took the top spot, tied with Ferrata and Vacton points. In the end, they both had solid finishes, but Bell got the win advantage. Sturgill, Langton, Floyd, your top 5 there. McWhorter, Gagnon, Massey. Senu, along with Alan Shoemaker, Stuart Thurkeld, Ferries, Cost, Christopher Hodges, and the last drivers in were Willis and Jones. Got in by 3 points in the very end.
Yeah, Jordan Brockle just missing that there, and there's a couple other drivers there. Chris Nail, who had a late entry there. Brent McGee. Thank you guys all, everyone here in this listing, and all these drivers that made this possible. I know it was kind of last minute, last ditch effort on our part, and we apologize for that. But thank you guys for putting it all together here and making the inaugural VSPEED Invitational a great show, and a crown to the all the guys that made the top 36. But let's bring up our post-race top 3. Justin Prince, I think we have him here in the post-race. We do. Aaron Smith is your victor here today. You've caught up with him down in Victory Lane.
Aaron, it was an eventful one for you. Ups and downs, to say the least, for the technical side in race 1. But race 2, you put on a clinic. How does it feel to win by almost 10 seconds?
Oh, it feels magnificent. I was certain there was going to be a bit of an issue there on that restart because, yeah, with someone staying out on the tires they got right before that caution, I had a feeling it would be a bit of an issue there. And through turns 1 and 2, being on the outside, and fortunately we were all able to keep it on the track. And then second disappeared, which was also terrifying, but we were able to get past it without any major incidents, and I was able to drive away.
Yeah, able to drive away very fast indeed. But overall, what's your energy level like for an event like this with various different leagues being brought together here as part of this invitational?
Oh, it's great. Like I recognize a few of the names in here, so I know that there's going to be a respectful race regardless. But yeah, if we can keep the track temperatures as high as they were tonight, I think these last 2 races are going to be awesome. So I hope we keep that in mind. But yeah, it was a blast.
So tomorrow going to be the true test. Your thoughts on the combinations tomorrow at Chicagoland, Richmond?
Well, if we can keep it green the whole way and keep the track temps up, I think I'll have a really good shot at it. We had some great racing tonight, and hopefully it'll be no different.
Any shows you'd like to give for the race here?
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank 29 Graphics, VRX Simulators, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and KHIO by ProLivio for supporting the event, and all the folks at VSPEED for putting this broadcast on and putting this event on, and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it tomorrow and hopefully coming back up here.
Aaron Smith II coming away with one tonight. Congratulations on the second race going your way tonight.
All right, thank you.
Aaron Smith in first. Seth Hatch, I believe, just stepped aside, but we do have third step of the podium. Chad Cleaner is with Bradley.
Yeah, Chad, I tell you, man, you made this race a lot harder than it needed to be, but you were able to recover and get back up to third, and you had a solid finish at Auto Club. You're locked into that final 18 in your Group A. Glad I got to talk to you post-race, though. It was just a matter of time before I got to talk to you again as we get set up for another SNR season. How excited were you coming into this race tonight?
Well, it was pretty exciting in my perspective because with all these great drivers that were recruited to do this event, it was really great to see all them to come together. I was excited to get on track and see how I compared to everybody else. And yeah, the Auto Club race kind of went smoothly. Then this race had that mishap in turn 1, and it was a great race back to the front. So it was definitely event filled.
Yeah, you had a lot of work there. Fell back to 14th there, and then kind of on the strategy calls. Were you one of the cars that came down early just before the competition caution, or did you just work your way back through there off raw pace?
I just worked my way through their raw pace. I was, I think, P5 going into the pits after the competition caution. I think maybe 2 ahead of me pit before the caution. I think Yusuf got a speeding penalty, so he wasn't able to basically get back to the front. But other than that, yeah, it was a really clean race up front. It was really fun to race with these guys.
Well, Chad, we got you up here in the booth. Hopefully we get you up here again. You got 2 races left, one at Richmond, one at Chicagoland. One last question for you. How confident are you going into those final 2 tracks?
Pretty confident, I think. Richmond is a short track, and I really love short tracks. I excel at them. I won at Phoenix in the finale of SNR Season 2, And I did win at Richmond the season before in the Generation 4 cars, so it's going to be a fun race at Richmond. I think Chicagoland's going to be a little more difficult. I think mile and a halves are not my strong suit, but I will try and combat that and get a good finish.
Well, Chad, we appreciate your time. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, I just want to shout out Aaron. He definitely dominated this race. It was very clear from practice last night that he was gonna go and dominate this race today. So I want to congratulate him on the win. I do want to thank all the SNR drivers that joined today to kind of compete for this. A lot of them did transfer. I think maybe some of them did not. So it was a good, hard-fought battle between all of us. I am excited to get the next season started. That is starting this month, I believe. So, yeah, just SNR group, all our admins, and we'll see you in a couple races.
There we go. Tomorrow night, making the top 18, be part of that final 36. Chad Klinger, congrats on that, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Thank you. See you then.
There you have it. Third place finisher here at Lime Rock, Chad Klinger. So that brings us down. We'll show those final results really quickly up on your screen. We don't have to go through them, but it was a great race. Again, Aaron Smith, dominant performance, started on the pole. There was a very brief moment there where he didn't have the lead, but then he made up for it, pulled away over 9 seconds over Seth Hatchell. Not very many people got to say they led a lap here today. I think Morgan Cook and maybe the 33. I don't even think Stravato got a lap led. So I think it was only 2 lead changes. So it was between Smith and Cook there for the lead change. And that was that. Very brief. And Smith, phenomenal job all the way down. Quentin Stewart, congratulations on making that cut. I believe 14th, as I recall. Justin, what a race here tonight.
What a race indeed throughout this entire night for both the races, in fact. Some entertaining action all throughout in the very end. But now it's time to get things all set for tomorrow. Once again, it will be Richmond, Chicagoland on the docket to see who picks up the top prizes. That coverage, once again, start around the same time tomorrow night here on VSPEED. On that note, though, it's time to say goodbye. Broadcast partner Bradley Cooper for our partners tonight in VRX and Walkin' and Rollin', and 29 Graphics and Keo by Prolivio. I'm Justin Brent saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching Group A coverage for the VSPEED Invitational from Auto Club and from Lime Rock. We'll see you tomorrow night.